Las Vegas, Nevada attracts a dancer hoping to see her name in lights. But she discovers that Sin City lives up to its name, and fame comes at a heavy price, as beauty and brawn mix together to produce an explosive, wicked attraction. The shifting sands of the desert surrounding Las Vegas, Nevada, bury many secrets. The isolated roads that crisscross it are an ideal hiding place, especially in the dead of night. In the early hours one December morning in 2005, a 911 call comes in about a car fire on the outskirts of Vegas. But that's nothing new here.
It was on the Sandy Valley Road, which is a normal place for people getting rid of the cars they don't want or that they've stolen. So I figured it was just another burnt-out car. The flames were pretty high. There's a lot of magnesium in that vehicle, in that engine and transmission, and it's pretty hard to put out. I didn't figure that I needed to drag out anybody else to help me because I could handle it by myself.
For the next hour, Chief Draper fights the flames. And soon, all that is left is the shell of what was once a high-end vehicle.
I could see it was a Jaguar. It was an expensive car. And I figured if somebody didn't want to make the payments anymore.
But there's something odd inside.
The fire had completely taken the car. And I had a part in here that was flaming up. It was smoking quite heavily. I shined the light in there to see why it was causing so much smoke. And that's when I seen the shirt with the arm in it. And that changed it drastically because it's well, I assumed it was a homicide. There was a body, and that's all I called in. Dispatch engine 79. Engine 79 reporting this burnt-out car has got a body in the trunk. Please notify Metro and other units to my location. I just secured the scene. The crime scene people take it over from there.
Upon arrival, we met with the Metropolitan Police Department, who are already taped off the scene to secure it and preserve it until the resources arrived. We did notice that there was heavy charring to the passenger driver compartment and rear passenger compartments. The seat framings were still intact, but no fabric material, no dash, just heavily charred metal remains. The trunk was still in the locked position. We forced entry into the trunk, and we're then seeing the body.
It's clear the victim is a woman, but police have no idea who she is.
The body was curled up in the trunk area, and she was pretty badly burned. And then took everybody in there to bring the body out.
The police hope the Clark County Coroner's Office can provide them with some answers.
In the case of charred bodies, it is much more difficult to perform the examination to determine cause and manner of death. We know that lots of the evidence may be destroyed by the fire, and extra care has to be taken to look for remaining evidence.
The medical examiner takes full body x-rays.
We're looking for metallic projectiles and natural diseases that may be visible on the x-rays.
Hello, it's Dr. Kubicek. May I help you?
But the x-rays don't reveal trauma or disease. Despite the severe burns, the body is intact enough to provide answers. But it's going to be a slow process.
We had hair, and I knew we had blood. So those are DNAs that we use to try to identify our person.
The victim's real identity remains a mystery.
We called her Sandy Valley Dome. It originates from the place where she was found.
Back in the desert, numerous clues emerge, including clear evidence of arson.
The possibility of accelerants used in this fire are high, given the damage internally and externally and the way the fire traveled throughout the vehicle itself. As we looked through the main body of the car, there were items that the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department removed.
Inside, detectives collect the charred remnants of a suitcase, pieces of clothing, keys, tweezers, part of a barbecue set, a purse, and what looks like syringes. And the biggest clue of all, the license plate. It seems the killer slipped up.
We were able to identify this vehicle by a license plate that we were able to run and find its registered owner.
The luxury vehicle is registered to local celebrity and national fitness champion Kelly Ryan. She and her bodybuilder husband, Craig Titus, are world-renowned and have lived in the Vegas area for nearly 5 years. Kelly's car was not reported missing. Investigators fear she was murdered and prepare to break the grim news to her husband.
Hi.
Detective Sorrentino, I'm here to speak to Craig Titus, a matter about his wife, Kelly Ryan.
I'm Kelly Ryan.
The burned-out wreck is full of surprises, but police are about to learn it holds more secrets that will lead them into a dark world of power, drugs, and sex. In December 2005, a woman's body is found in the trunk of a burning car on the outskirts of Las Vegas. Detectives fear the victim is the car's owner, Kelly Ryan, and head out to inform her husband.
And they were presuming that it was probably Kelly in the back of the vehicle dead. But Kelly answered the door, so they knew that the victim was not her.
Do you mind if we come in and talk to you?
Sure.
We're gonna talk to you about your vehicle.
Detectives question Ryan about her whereabouts the night before. She reveals she and her husband, Craig Titus, invited 2 friends over to celebrate one of them graduating from college. The couple left around 2 a.m., and Titus and Ryan headed off to bed. Later that morning, there was a nasty surprise.
Kelly Ryan told the police that she had woken up early in the morning on December 14th and discovered that her Jaguar was missing from the garage. She suggested, or at least intimated to police, that it was probably their former roommate, Melissa James, who had snuck back into their home, stolen the car.
What type of changes were there?
When police tell the couple a female body was discovered in the trunk, they seem genuinely distressed, but not overly surprised.
She was a personal assistant to both Craig and I, but she was a good friend.
Kelly told the police that they had suspected Melissa of taking some of their money and had just kicked her out of the house 2 days earlier.
Spending my money, $50, $75, $80 stuff I didn't buy, but it's in my name.
Hey, maybe I wanted to treat myself to something.
I don't trust you.
Making a big deal about it.
What's going on here?
Ryan and Titus claim she needed cash to support an insatiable methamphetamine habit.
Craig, I can't calm down. She's stealing our money. What's the deal, Melissa?
Craig and Kelly went to great lengths to badmouth Melissa James. And they told detectives one of the reasons that Melissa was no longer living with them is because they just couldn't deal with the issue she was having.
Despite her problems, Titus bought her a plane ticket to fly home to New Jersey the day before.
See ya.
Meanwhile, in the Garden State, Maura James drives to Newark International Airport to pick up her daughter, Melissa.
I went in the airport and I went to baggage claim and I didn't see her anywhere. So that's when I started calling her on her cell phone and she didn't answer. It went to voicemail.
Maura calls Craig Titus, but only reaches his voicemail. After a day goes by with no word from Titus or her daughter, Maura becomes frantic and takes matters into her own hands.
The next morning when I went into work, I started calling hospitals, and I thought maybe she was sick, maybe she had an accident, they didn't have her. So then that's when I really began to worry that something had happened to her. And then it wasn't until that night was when I got the phone call about what happened.
A Las Vegas detective fuels her fears. The body found burned in a car in the desert is believed to be Melissa.
Oh, it was horrible. It was like I was on the outside looking at somebody else's life. I was like, this isn't happening. This can't be, not Melissa. But deep down in my heart, I knew it was.
Maura keeps calling Craig Titus and Kelly Ryan in her search for answers. For days, her calls go unanswered until Titus finally gets back to her.
He told me that he didn't have anything to do with what happened to Melissa. I knew in my heart he had something to do with it. I knew.
Las Vegas Metro Police have the same suspicions after searching Melissa's bedroom.
The police went into Melissa's room and there was a credit card sitting out in the open. It struck them as odd. They felt like it was actually placed there for them to see it, and they felt like the whole thing had been staged by Craig and Kelly to imply that Melissa was stealing from them.
Detectives suspect Craig and Kelly's golden couple image is only a facade. Craig Titus was born in 1965 in Wyandotte, Michigan.
Craig Titus grew up in a very tough home. He was the oldest of 3 boys. His father was a tunnel digger, very hard laborer. His grandfather was a tunnel digger. So we know that there was a high expectation in that household for the boys to be men at an early age.
In school, Titus played football until the 9th grade. But in a sport where size matters, Titus didn't measure up.
He wasn't big enough. He was, in some sense, a weakling in the school. He was only about 5'8" at his tallest. And he couldn't be the big man on campus that would have been in line with the expectations of a tough, hard family. When Craig found bodybuilding and started to lift weights, he started to feel tougher on the outside, and it began to match his psyche on the inside.
Titus gained weight, muscle, and respect, but at a price. He became addicted to performance-enhancing drugs.
One of the side effects of steroids is increase in aggression. There can be rage outbursts that are sometimes commonly called roid rage associated with steroid use. And there's no question that Craig's angry psyche, his tough guy, beat on your chest demeanor, was fueled in part by his steroid use.
By 1995, Craig Titus's golden image was tarnished.
He was in a pretty high-profile bodybuilding contest, took second place, took the trophy and smashed it up and threw it on the ground and stormed off. That is very taboo in the bodybuilding world. The one thing that you're always taught is to respect the competition. And here was Craig disrespecting the decision, and that really sealed his fate as the bad boy of bodybuilding. And Craig actually embraced that title.
Not long after the outburst, Titus was busted for dealing ecstasy and put on probation. Then he was arrested for using anabolic steroids and sentenced to 21 months in federal prison for violating his parole. When Titus was released in 1999, he returned to the bodybuilding circuit and thought he found his perfect match, Kelly Ryan. Ryan was also an accomplished fitness champion.
My coach had shown me her winning routine for the Fitness America Nationals. And he said, I want to show you what you're up against. This is the winning routine. You need to bring your level up to this girl. And that girl was Kelly Ryan.
Kelly Ryan was born in 1972 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. After several moves, her family eventually settled in Greenville, South Carolina. Ryan was a promising young gymnast. After college, she entered her first fitness show and won.
When I see Kelly's videos, you can see that she's very comfortable performing. She won many, many, many awards, and she was always very happy, and I think for the most part very comfortable with her popularity.
Kelly was nicknamed the Flying Ryan because she just had this incredible ability to leap across stage and flip and do these very acrobatic moves that she learned as a formally trained gymnast. And it was a skill that a lot of the other competitors didn't have, and it really allowed her to rise to the very top of the profession. Craig and Kelly met in 1995, and he knew right away in seeing her that she was something special.
Here, let me help you.
I'm good, thank you.
But Ryan was turned off by his reputation.
He was the bad boy of bodybuilding, so she was hesitant. But Craig Titus pursued her, and he was very relentless. And over time, Kelly started to see that he did have an edge to him, there was no doubt, but she also saw in him a side that other people didn't see, which was a softness and a loving side to him.
On June 6, 2000, the couple tied the knot in Las Vegas, Nevada. But now, Titus wanted to change more than just Kelly's personality.
Are we ready to do this?
There were a number of plastic surgeries that seem inconsistent with what we know about Kelly, except that it appears that Craig encouraged her to have the plastic surgeries. He had some involvement in reshaping her physical image, even to the point of plastic surgery.
We're pretty good for gym. I'm more laid back. I'm like, I'll get ready for the show, whatever happens, happens.
Let's make the scene tonight.
I know, right?
Kelly got sucked into Craig's troubled lifestyle of wild sex parties, drugs, and drinking.
I think Kelly just embraced Las Vegas just a little too much, and it created a stream of other available things to do, and one of them was recreational drugs.
Craig also persuaded Kelly to allow another woman, Melissa James, to move into their home.
He'd had a past sexual relationship with Melissa, and this is another way in which he was, in a sense, manipulating Kelly by permitting his former mistress or partner to live in the home with them.
Spending my money. Stuff I didn't buy, but it's in my name. What's the deal, Melissa?
Craig purchased her.
Ryan and Titus's complicated relationship creates many questions for the investigators. But the couple isn't sticking around to provide the answers. In December of 2005, police in Las Vegas suspect celebrity fitness champions Craig Titus and Kelly Ryan of murdering their personal assistant, Melissa James.
We were very close, and when she was around, we did a lot of things together. We did shopping, we baked, we did crafts and things like that.
When she was just 19, Melissa opened her first dance studio in Panama City, Florida. A mutual friend introduced her to Craig Titus at a local fitness event. There were rumors of an affair very early on in the friendship.
Yeah.
When he returned to the West Coast, she soon followed.
Craig convinced her that she could have a better career out there. And who wouldn't, at that age, want to experience Las Vegas? And that's when she met Kelly. And she talked like her and Kelly were friends. And I think she really thought a lot of them because of their careers and, where their stature was in life. And she was impressed with it.
But Melissa quickly learned their perfect couple image was a mirage.
There was a lot of drug use and a lot of broken promises. She was always told things were going to be different. Come out here and, you can get a job and all this kind of stuff. And she always tried it and it never panned out.
Melissa decided she had enough and returned to Florida and her dance studio. But she struggled with her business and found herself in trouble with the law, accused of possessing drug paraphernalia and using a stolen credit card.
Melissa's not perfect. She was not perfect. She made mistakes in her life.
In October of 2005, Titus and Ryan invited her back to Vegas. By then, their marriage was falling apart.
They were doing a lot of fighting, and she got really uncomfortable and said that Craig was not paying her. He would give her money to go buy things, or he would give her his credit card and tell her to go get the things you need, but then would tell her, don't tell Kelly.
Finally, on December 13th, 2005, Melissa called her mom and told her she was coming home, this time for good. In Las Vegas, the couple who was at Titus and Ryan's house the night before the body was discovered comes forward with shocking evidence.
Sit right there for me. Thank you for coming in. Do you mind if we record this?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So the police interviewed Megan Pearson and Jeremy Foley.
Tell me, how did you get a hold of this bag?
But what Megan and Jeremy explained to the detectives was that they indeed were at the Kelly Ryan and Craig Titus home on the 13th.
Hold on a second, I got something for you. Okay.
And as they were leaving, Craig Titus handed the two of them a gym bag.
Take this.
And Craig Titus asked Megan and Jeremy to hold on to it for a couple weeks.
You guys have a good night.
And at some point, Megan and Jeremy look inside that gym bag. And they see a stun gun. And now their concern is at least heightened enough because they've heard these news reports about the body being found.
Detectives then get a call from Amanda Polk and her boyfriend, Ryan Chastain. Amanda and Ryan are good friends with the couple. They claim Titus and Ryan arrived at their place in a panic after the police left their home.
You're freaking us out. You gotta tell us what's going on. It's our personal assistant, Melissa.
They're very unsettled. Craig talked about how something very bad had happened, that Melissa was dead, that she had died of a drug overdose, and that they knew they were in trouble and that it was going to look really bad.
We're probably going to trade in our truck and get out of town.
He also talked about the need to flee the country, to go to a country with no extradition policy.
Amanda and Kelly Ryan head out for dinner. When they are clear of the men, Kelly Ryan reveals the shocking details.
Kelly told Amanda that they'd found Melissa dead from a drug overdose, that they'd gone to a Walmart and bought 7 bottles of lighter fluid, put the body in the car, and burned it in the desert. Amanda was very alarmed at this because it didn't make any sense to her as to why they wouldn't have just called the police if it was a drug overdose.
The statements are damning, but investigators still need hard evidence. They sift through phone records and learn Titus made repeated calls to a man named Anthony Gross on the afternoon of the 13th through the morning of the 14th, the day the body was burned.
Anthony Gross was a friend of Craig Titus's. He was kind of what you might refer to as a clinger-on. You know, Craig had this aura of celebrity about him, and Anthony was kind of a follower. And a lot of people said that whatever Craig wanted, Anthony would probably do.
Gross details the events of the morning the body was found. Titus called around 1:30 and asked him to meet them at a local gas station. When he arrived, Gross put some gas in his truck and was instructed by Titus to fill up a portable gas can.
He then followed Craig and Kelly in the Jaguar to Sandy Valley Road. Craig got out of the Jaguar, doused the Jaguar with gasoline and lighter fluid, lit it on fire.
Gross says he had no idea what was going on and just did what he was asked.
It seems to defy common sense. If someone called you and asked you to show up with a gas can at 2 in the morning, wouldn't you first want to know what you were about to do? And people are very skeptical of that.
After the deed was done, Gross dropped the couple off at their house. But surveillance video from the gas station pokes holes in Gross's story.
And on that surveillance video from the gas station, police could see Anthony Gross driving his truck, being followed by Craig Titus and Kelly Ryan in the Jaguar.
Police arrest Gross and charge him with accessory to murder and third-degree arson. Investigators also obtained surveillance video from Walmart, proving Kelly Ryan bought 7 bottles of lighter fluid, along with a barbecue set, so she didn't raise suspicion from the clerk.
You clearly see Kelly Ryan leaving the store with the lighter fluid, so we know the date and the time this transaction happened. You see the Jaguar pull up to the entrance exit of the Walmart, so we know that Craig's story, Kelly's story that Melissa stole the car is complete nonsense. You see Craig Titus get out of the driver's side of the car, so we know Craig Titus is intimately involved with what happened to the car. But I think most telling about that video is what Craig Titus does when he gets out of the car. Most people, when loading groceries, would open the trunk of their car. Craig Titus opened the back door. Kelly Ryan pushed the cart to the back door, and they load the back seat with the lighter fluid and the barbecue set. And that's because the trunk was occupied by the dead body of Melissa James.
Police obtain an arrest warrant for Craig Titus and Kelly Ryan and notify the FBI. Investigators learn Titus and Ryan are planning to meet a friend in Boston who is going to liquidate some assets. And then they're off to Greece, a country that doesn't have an extradition agreement with the U.S.
Their ultimate goal was to flee the United States. That did change things for us a little bit. We wanted to be able to catch them as soon as we could so that we could avoid them getting out of the country.
Finally, there's word they've been spotted in Boston. Craig Titus is in a parking lot and presumed pumped up on drugs, armed, and highly dangerous. It will take an elite SWAT team to try to take him down. Craig Titus and Kelly Ryan are on the run. Suspects in the disappearance of their personal assistant, Melissa James.
We did have information that they were attempting to find someplace where they could get passports so that they could get out of the country, and we assumed that they were probably going to try to use false IDs to obtain those passports. So our efforts were basically to try to catch them before they had the opportunity to flee the United States.
Their friends all consistently told police that Craig and Kelly were talking about going to a country with a non-extradition policy.
The FBI knows Titus and Ryan are heading to Boston and soon spot their pickup truck near Logan International Airport.
We were concerned that there would be some violence. Anytime somebody's wanted for something as serious as murder, you never know.
1, 2, 3. Come on, you don't have to do this. It's cool. All right, no problem. Calm down.
Just yards away, Kelly Ryan is getting a manicure. FBI agents storm the building, and she too goes quietly.
All around, I think everybody was pretty excited that we were able to locate him and get him in custody.
Titus is willing to talk to investigators and insists he's no killer, but he's changing his story.
Craig Titus suggests that he and Kelly had a couple friends at the home, Megan Pearson and Jeremy Foley. And Craig tells police that as they're all leaving, he notices the garage light is on. He says he and Kelly open the garage and their friends come into the garage and they all see Melissa James in the driver's seat of their Jaguar dead from an overdose.
Titus tells the agents he panicked.
Very well-known competitive bodybuilder.
He and his wife feared Melissa's overdose would taint their careers and reputations.
In his mind, he's still a famous bodybuilder who everybody admires and adores. So he explains that he and Kelly dragged Melissa's body from the car into the living room. He explains that they laid her out on a blanket. And he explains to police that because he loves Melissa, he couldn't stand the thought of seeing her face. So he takes duct tape and wraps it around her head so he doesn't have to look at her.
We put her in the trunk.
He explains that then he and Kelly eventually put Melissa in the trunk of the car and then come up with the idea of getting rid of the car with Melissa's body in the trunk by burning it.
FBI special agents aren't buying the new accidental overdose story, and neither are Las Vegas detectives.
When Craig was first interviewed by the police, he tried to relate to them as if they were buddies, calling him bro and pal and praising their investigative skills, as if he had a better answer or a better story. We use the word omnipotence to describe this sense of being all-powerful, because he really thinks he's better than everyone else.
The police re-interview Megan Pearson and Jeremy Foley after Titus claims they'll back up his story.
They say, we were in the garage, there was nobody in the front seat of that car.
Megan also amends her story about the evening she spent at their house. She reveals that Titus and Ryan told her and Jeremy that a fight with Melissa over money got out of hand.
I did not think I was going to find out about this. Find out what? You stealing my money once again.
This is ridiculous.
No. You're not going anywhere. I worked too hard for my success and you're not going anywhere.
Off of me!
Oh, are you going to tase me now? Okay, we'll see.
Megan said Craig and Kelly told them that Kelly and Melissa were struggling over a taser. Kelly got a hold of the taser and tasered Melissa.
What's going on? What did you do?
What does it look like I did?
And Craig came in and carried her downstairs,
We've got to fix this.
body slammed her, and allegedly beat her.
Stupid bitch! Why'd you have to go and screw things up?
Craig then held Melissa down while Kelly injected her with a full needle full of morphine.
Titus may have taken one further step to kill Melissa and offered Megan a chilling demonstration when his friends came over that night.
Craig walked up behind Megan and he put her in a chokehold. He put his arm around her neck and he started to squeeze and talked about how you could lose consciousness real quickly when someone did that to you. Megan said, I started to be able to not breathe, and then Craig let go. And she asked, is that what happened to Melissa? And nobody would answer.
So in the same way that a killer takes a trophy, Craig was reliving the moment of triumph when he showed Megan how he could take a life or choke somebody out with his bicep.
Hold on a second, I got something.
Titus gives them a parting gift to try to ensure their silence. A bag containing the taser.
I think he gives the duffel bag away, partly to get the evidence out of his home, because he knows there's going to be an investigation and a search.
What is it? It's just some junk, don't worry about it.
He also gives it to Jeremy and Megan because he wants them to be somehow tied to him, complicit in his crime.
However, with conflicting accounts, uncertain motives, and only limited forensic evidence, defense attorneys believe prosecutors will struggle to convince a jury that Titus and Ryan killed Melissa.
The statements by Kelly's friends were not credible, and they weren't credible because they were not supported by either forensic or scientific evidence.
And when the medical examiner's report finally arrives, it delivers a crushing blow to the prosecution's case. Craig Titus may be telling the truth. Despite being electrocuted, drugged, strangled, and burned, there is no proof Melissa James was murdered. 3 weeks after charred human remains are found in the burning car of celebrity fitness champions Craig Titus and Kelly Ryan, the medical examiner finally confirms the victim's identity.
Well, we use a DNA blotter that we take and do an autopsy from the body, and we use that with the match of a family member to determine that this was Melissa and James.
But the results of the autopsy also produce a major problem for the prosecution.
The cause and manner of death is undetermined because the body was destroyed about 70%.
Yeah. The medical examiner can't rule out other conditions that could have contributed to Melissa's death, nor can he isolate what specifically killed her. He can't even prove she was murdered.
I wasn't surprised that the pathologist couldn't determine the cause of Melissa's death. But we know for certain that she didn't tape herself up, inject herself with drugs, shoot herself with a taser gun, climb into the trunk of a car and set herself on fire. And so I was somewhat surprised the pathologist wasn't willing to say the manner of death in this case was homicide, even though we don't know which one of those things necessarily killed her.
But it's not all bad news for prosecutors. Toxicology tests back up Megan Pearson's story that Ryan injected Melissa with drugs the day she died. The stun gun Titus left for safekeeping reveals its own trail of evidence.
Detectives take the taser gun and the cartridge inside of it and they send it to the manufacturer. The manufacturer of the taser is able to determine, based on that cartridge, the date and the time when it was last discharged. And on December 13th of 2005, between 2:10 in the afternoon and 2:12 in the afternoon, that gun was fired 6 times within a 2-minute time frame. And each one of those discharges carried 50,000 volts. So detectives drafted a search warrant to determine if they could find any remnants that a taser had been fired inside the Titus and Ryan home. And inside the home, they find what are called taser dots, little confetti-like dots that are discharged from a taser when it's fired. So we could now prove that taser gun that belonged to Craig Titus was fired inside his home that he shared with Kelly Ryan on December 13th, 2005, 6 different times between 2:10 and 2:12 p.m., which certainly proves something sinister had happened inside that home the day before Melissa's body was discovered.
Meanwhile, Titus is still trying to sow doubt and confusion.
And he provides yet a third version of events, and this time Craig Titus suggests that he walks in on a fight between his wife Kelly and Melissa James, that a taser gun was being used on his wife Kelly, and that he, Craig Titus, played the hero and had to rescue his wife from being hurt or killed by Melissa James.
Don't touch me! Get off me!
Ryan admits to investigators she and Melissa had their differences, but sticks to the earlier story about finding her dead from an overdose in their car. In March 2006, a grand jury indicts Craig Titus and Kelly Ryan. Both plead not guilty to charges of murder, kidnapping, and arson. Kelly Ryan's defense team remains confident.
I had spoken to the district attorney and reviewed the evidence in the case. We always took an adamant stance that Kelly had no participation in the death of Melissa James.
In May of 2008, more than 2 years after the death of Melissa James, the trial is set to begin. But at the 11th hour, Craig Titus and Kelly Ryan accept plea deals.
Kelly Ryan pled guilty to first-degree arson, and she pled guilty to battery with a deadly weapon resulting in substantial bodily harm.
Kelly Ryan took responsibility for having a fight with Melissa James. At the time of the fight, Craig Titus enters the room, pulls Melissa James off of Kelly, and takes responsibility for the death of Melissa James. I think the deal that we received ultimately reflected what her participation was in this case, and therefore it was fair.
Kelly Ryan receives 26 years and is eligible for parole in 2011.
When assessing their level of culpability, it was important for us to try to figure out what the relationship was between these two. Kelly Ryan was naive, and I'm not here to make excuses for Kelly Ryan because she certainly played a role in the crimes in this case. But by all accounts, Craig Titus dragged Kelly Ryan down with him. He is narcissistic, he's an egomaniac, he's a manipulator, and certainly he had some control, some level of control over Kelly Ryan.
Craig Titus finally faces reality.
He begged for a more lenient sentence, and our response to Craig Titus was, look, we're ready to go to trial. Either you accept the guilty plea to murder and kidnapping and arson, or Monday morning you see the whites of the jurors' eyes, and we like our chances. And he didn't want to roll the dice, and so he pled guilty.
I took the plea bargain and admitted to something that did not happen so that my wife can go home.
Titus receives a sentence of 51 years in prison. He's eligible for parole after 21 years behind bars.
Because Craig Titus had such a strong sense of narcissism, he really thought he could get away with his crime. He had a strong sense of omnipotence, a feeling that he was all-powerful, that the laws didn't apply to him, that he could fool the cops. The oneness in their relationship culminates that night when Kelly is fighting with Melissa and Craig joins Kelly in the violence. He joins Kelly in the disposal of the body, in the purchase of the lighter fluid, in the drive out to the desert, and igniting the flames. Now, together, they're complicit in the crime, and they're unified in the crime, as well as in their psyche. The wicked attraction between Craig and Kelly is that there's a oneness, a joining of each other, that I think permitted this relationship to share its dark side.
We will never know all the details of what happened that day. Craig and Kelly have told multiple stories about this, and the only one who knows all the particulars is Melissa, and she's no longer with us. What we can say for sure is that Melissa was brutally beaten and assaulted and murdered, and then disposed of in the desert. It's a terrible tragedy.
I think about her, I see her face, and I know she's at peace, and I ask God to tell her I miss her, and I love her.